What up, y'all? Welcome to Is It In Yet? If my voice ain't reading it, it is my Friday, and I am going to have a 4-day weekend, mommies and puppies, and I can't wait because it's been a couple of weeks. It's been some, but I'm just hoping. No, I'm going to be relaxed. I'm not gonna let nobody pull me out of my character. I have the power to keep my zen. Whatever that means. Because lack of sleep can make lack of judgment, but I'm bigger than anything. Spring is sprunging. Flowers are blooming. Birds are chirping. We are getting closer to Good Friday. Jesus has risen. Our sins have been forgiven. We are no longer our past. Let's keep pressing forward and towards the mark, however you want to say that. I'm going to show you guys some love today. I really didn't do anything today. I went to the gym. I did this dip machine that I haven't done in a while, and my back is on fire. So that ain't cool. I haven't done that machine in a while. I mean, it's good for you, I guess, right? We need strong backs, but, you see news stories about 2 firefighters dying in Chicago, and firefighters are like at some of the best shape of their life. This 55-year-old firefighter died going up to the 27th floor, and Chicago fire collapsed. It's like, dude, all that for that. But firefighters have some of the hardest jobs, and they are very much so unsung heroes. Let's get into some news. Michael K. Williams, who is one of my favorite actors. He was in Boardwalk Empire, The Wire, all that. Anyway, his drug dealer pleads guilty in the overdose death case. He died last year, I think. But they said he gave Michael K. Williams dirty drugs. And this is alleged, but I really think, like, when Michael K. Williams died, if you research who he is, he also died around the time when Wendy Williams started kind of freaking out a little bit. And this is alleged, feel like they have the same drug dealer in New York. Because I think people started getting scared because that fentanyl is, like, laced, and I think that some people got a hold of some bad drugs. Anyway, this dude, 39-year-old Irvin Cartagena, pleaded guilty Wednesday in New York City to 1 count of conspiring to distribute drugs in connection to late actor's fatal overdose from 2021. He now faces a mandatory of 5 years in prison and could see as many as 40. He's got additional charges, but he just pled guilty to the one. They even got pictures of him selling drugs to Michael Williams on the street in Brooklyn. So, dang. They had him on film. Drug dealers, if you're gonna sell drugs, you might want to see if, like, some street cameras are around. But they continue to peddle drugs on the street without a second thought, even after Williams died. A second defendant, who was also arrested and charged last year, reportedly pled guilty as well. As reported, Williams' body was found in his home, and his official cause of death ended in an accidental overdose. His passing came as a shock to Hollywood. The actor was mostly known for his portrayal of Omar Little on The Wire, but his work went well beyond. He was acclaimed for his craft. He had publicly battled drug addiction. I liked him a lot. He was like one of my favorite actors, and it's so unfortunate that, he succumbed to that. Pete Davidson's stalker is unfit to stand trial and sent to a psych facility. Isn't that where all the stalkers should go? Because clearly, But this comedian Bobby Lee, who's really funny, by the way, I guess I haven't been on social media, so I don't know what he's been saying, but he made some jokes about a Tijuana prostitute, and he says a lot of crazy stuff, but Clearly he said something that they did not like, and he had to end up apologizing and saying that the story was made up, it was a dark joke, and all this. I know, speaking of dark jokes, I'm going to tell you after this plays, but I was listening to Howard Stern, and I don't know how crazy or true this story is about this freaking prostitute, or this, I don't want to say prostitute, but she was a 9/11 survivor. But let's play this.
To talk about it, but the people around me were like, you know what, you didn't do anything, it'll die down. But I'm always like, yeah, but I can explain it. You know, at the time I had 2 jokes in my act, right? Yeah. The first joke, and they would only work maybe 40%, 30% of the time. The first joke was, it's not as bad. It's like, you know, I went on a date the other day. She seemed pretty young. She looked like Natalie Portman. Pause. Beat. Yeah. From the movie Professional, right? Laugh. It's a switch.
Yeah.
That's what that kind of joke is.
Dark.
The second one, wait for the second one. It's way worse. Gulp, gulp, gulp. It's way worse, the second one. The other joke that I could only get work 20% of the time was, my girlfriend's grandma died a couple of weeks ago, and last night we were making love, and she burst into tears while we were making love, and I did what any good boyfriend would do. I power fucked her.
Yeah, 20%.
Yeah, 20%.
20%. That's a 20%.
It's a harsh joke. It's fucking terrible. And I took the fucking Natalie Portman joke, that joke. I made up this Tijuana, you know what I mean, story.
Wait a second. Yeah. You added 30 Black Marines to your.
I know. I'm going to get to that.
I've heard about this.
Right. So then, but in my mind, I'm like, no one ever talks about the second half of this story.
The crazy part.
The crazy part. They focus on the Natalie Portman, whatever. It's terrible. Yeah. It's awful. Okay. But the second half is so crazy, and you know, easily, like, you know, it didn't. It's obvious it didn't happen. I understand the uproar.
It was a tasteless, fucked up joke.
Yeah, because at the time when I said it, I literally didn't think anything of it. It was just like almost like prerequisite. Is that the right word?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How do you say it? Prerequisite. Right? It was like almost encouraged to say crazy shit. I never thought about it. Mm-hmm. When I listen to it now, it puts a chill down my spine. It's terrible because I changed with society, right? And I look at that fucking story and I feel guilt over it. It's fucking terrible. You know, it was stupid to say it as many times as I said it. But I understand the uproar. I understand, why people, you know what I mean, are upset about it. I'm upset about it. And I punish myself over it. Every fucking second of every day, I go, you piece of shit. Why did you tell that fucking story? What are you, fucking out of your mind? You're dumb. And, you know what I mean? And this constant, you know what I mean, internal dialogue. You know what I mean? It's like a fucking nightmare. And, but at the end of the day, the way I get out of it is like, I didn't do anything.
It's just not real.
It's not real. So I just always go back to like, it didn't happen. It's not real. And I just know that this is not going to move the needle with people that think that I am a certain way.
So, needless to say, it was a tasteless joke that he repeated, traveling to Tijuana for sex and paying for an underage prostitute. Sorted for sure, but says it was total fiction. So, well, you guys can rest easy that it was not real. But I was getting into this crazy Howard Stern show that I saw earlier. And it was like, so it was about this lady. Her name was Eleanor. She was a 9/11 widow. And Eric the cop. There's a clip, but I wonder if it's still on here. But it was just the craziest story. And I can't find the episode. But it was this widow. She ran off with this New York City cop after 9/11, and they found this little girl on a street. These people were smoking crack with their 9/11 money, and yeah, it was the craziest story. Like, they were shotgunning the crack smoke into the 15-year-old or the 16-year-old's mouth, and she supposedly had all this money. It was just the craziest, and it sent all of Howard Stern's callers into an uproar. They were like calling in like, how dare you take your 9/11 money and spend it on crack. And she had got supposedly breast implants and all this stuff, and it was the craziest story. I couldn't stop listening. I knew it had to be fake, but you never know. What do we know what these 9/11 survivors are doing with their money? I mean, not everybody is morally conscious. Some people could be out smoking crack with that money. I mean, their spouses died, but yeah, that was and they were rocking with that story. I mean, there were people calling in telling her that DFS is going to take her kids because she was smoking crack, and moms are supposed to smoke crack, and she's like, I don't smoke crack all the time. It was just wild. It was really wild. I just couldn't believe it. In other regular people news, it is still tornado season. So be careful. The sirens were being practiced where I live today, so be listening to those. Pence will not fight the order that he is to testify before the special counsel, so he's going to testify. North Dakota advances record-setting 10 anti-LGBTQ bills in one day. So they are ramping that up because, So this Cash App founder, Bob Lee, he was found stabbed and killed in San Francisco. We'll see if the internet's nice and play this story like the last one. But it probably won't be, because I'm just not that lucky. So Bob Lee, a technology executive who founded the mobile payment company at Cash App and previously worked at Square, died Thursday after he was stabbed near downtown San Francisco. According to his family, the San Francisco police said officers responded to a report of a stabbing around 2:35 Tuesday. The officers found the 43-year-old man with an apparent stab wound. He was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries and died later. Police later Wednesday identified the deceased man as Robert Lee. Bobby worked harder than anyone and was the smartest person I've ever known. He will be missed by all those who knew him. The father and son had been living in Miami since October after moving from California. Richard Lee said in a post they had grown especially close after Bob Lee's mother died in 2019. They cannot immediately confirm why Bob Lee was back in the Bay Area. I'm so sad and disheartened to lose my brother, Tim Oliver wrote. Bob Lee had been working as a chief product officer of the cryptocurrency company MobileCoin. He was previously chief technology of Square, known as Block, now as Block, a financial technology. Yeah. But yeah, he got stabbed to death. So I don't know what that was about. They said that there is a public safety issue in San Francisco. I don't know what he was doing out at 2:30 in the morning. But they said that San Francisco has had 12 homicides since the beginning of the year, which is really not bad compared to where I live, unfortunately, but very strange. Rest in peace to him, and my thoughts and prayers go to his family. Texas police are looking for a 6-year-old boy whom people haven't seen since November. They said that his name is Noel Rodriguez Alvarez, and the Department of Family Services asked March 20th that police conduct a welfare check. The boy's mother provided that we now know is misinformation that Noel was staying with family in Mexico. They're concerned about his physical and medical well-being. On March 22nd, Noel's mother, Cindy Rodriguez, and her husband and 6 children got on a plane and traveled to India. He said Noel was not with them. Police have obtained arrest warrants for his mother and her husband on a charge of abandoning or endangering a child. So something happened because they just bounced and where's the dude? He's missing. They don't have any records of foul play or anything like that, but it is strange that they just up and leave a 6-year-old behind. Let's see. Some of this is this? This is just so lame. So this YouTuber was allegedly shot while filming a prank video in the mall. I be wondering about that because y'all be running up on these people and you just don't know who is going to not like your prank. So Lil Tanner Cook allegedly would try pranking a man at a mall in Virginia for a video causing him to be shot in response. I always wonder that. I'm like, are these people just run up on people, especially in today's world where everybody's packing? Very dangerous for these little prank videos. I know I don't want nobody running up on me at all. Barbie and Ken first look for the Barbie movie is coming out. If y'all want to check that out, I won't be seeing it. Just not my thing. Barbies. I was more of a Jam doll, and if you don't know who Jam truly outrageous is, then I don't know what to tell you. And in Cancun, there was 4 bodies found in a hotel area of Mexico's Cancun resort. Let me see what resort. I'm not going to Mexico for a minute anyway. Yeah, I ain't never heard of this one, Fiesta Americana. But there's been a lot of violence going on. They were Mexican nationals. Not that that should matter, but they weren't Americans. But yeah, man, I don't know. It's getting wild out there. Be careful. I was just making sure it wasn't a hotel that I frequent there. Other than that, man, it's kind of like some recycled news. Let's see what else we got going on around this town. I'm giving you all what I got because I'm probably, I don't know, I might be a cool guy and give you guys a podcast on my 4-day weekend, but I don't know, it's kind of nice. So this is weird. This Virginia officer who shot and wounded his sergeant says he feared the sergeant was going to rape him. James City County Police Officer Michael Rusk is facing criminal charges in connection with a January shooting outside the bar. Investigators said the shooting happened as a result of a verbal argument between the 2 off-duty officers after a night of drinking. However, the 911 call and surveillance video tell a different story. According to Wavy's 10 on your side, Rusk made a call at 911 and he confessed to shooting the sergeant outside of the bar. 911 call, Rusk gave his name and badge number saying, "I shot Sergeant Gibson. I told him no and he kept going. I told him to stop. He kept going. I thought he was going to rape me," Rusk told the dispatcher. He went on to say, "I pulled a gun on him because he was trying to he was advancing on me." Russ's dad, Jason Rusk, tells 10 on your side that his son was sexually harassed for a year. We just kind of wrote it off as superior looking after subordinate, but it started to get creepy. The sergeant would just show up out of nowhere on the streets where Michael's girlfriend lived. He said there was extremely inappropriate touching, the stalking, the grooming. The video backs up Russ's story. The footage shows the 2 men outside the bar at the table across from each other. Gibson moved to the other side of the table and sat next to Russ. He reached under the table and Russ seems to hesitate. More footage outside the bar shows Gibson put his arm around Russ, who shoved his arm off and put a finger in his face before walking away. If our client was a female, this case would drastically be different. It's clear self-defense issue. It's very unfortunate that the narrative out there isn't the narrative that's going to come to light on the trial. So that is wild.
Think about the moments just before a James City County police officer shot his sergeant outside a Williamsburg bar.
Michael Rusk is facing charges in connection to that January shooting, which seriously hurt Sergeant Christopher Gibson. Investigators initially said the 2 officers got into a fight after a night of drinking. But as 10 on your side's Julie Millay learned, the shooting might have been about much more than a bar fight.
Yeah,
Julie?
Tom and Amy, investigators simply said the 2 officers involved in the shooting were known to each other. Now we're learning what that might really mean.
The alleged shooter, Michael Rusk, says he pulled the trigger in self-defense because of unwanted advances by his sergeant. We're about to share exclusive surveillance video and the 911 call from the shooting, which we played for Michael Rusk's family for the first time. Would you like to hear it?
I'd love to hear it.
For the first time, Jason Rusk is hearing the 911 call his son made in the early morning hours of January 25th.
I shot Sergeant Gibson. Do what? I shot Sergeant Gibson. I pulled a gun on him. Can you investigate me? Is he breathing? He just fell out.
James City County police officer Michael Rusk called 911 after he allegedly shot his superior officer, Sergeant Christopher Gibson, outside a Williamsburg bar, where the two had been drinking together. Video given exclusively to 10 on Your Side shows the two officers before this happened.
I shot his right arm. Okay, I need you to take a deep breath for me, okay? Is he breathing? Is he breathing? I'm trying to save his life.
The 911 call goes on for just over 5 minutes. That's when responding officers show up to find Gibson had been shot 3 times, seriously hurt in his stomach and shoulder. Court documents show Gibson told officers Rusk shot him after a verbal argument. But Rusk, his dad, and his lawyers say it was much more than that.
It started to get creepy.
Jason Rusk says his son told him about unwanted attention he got from his superior officer leading up to the shooting, and that he had reported it to others on the force.
There was a year's worth of grooming that had taken place.
Rusk says his son is the victim of unwanted sexual advances and had been for a long time.
Extremely inappropriate touching, stalking, the grooming, the previous to the incident assaults.
We reached out to Gibson several times to ask him about these allegations. He declined to speak with us. We also requested from JCCPD a record of any complaints filed against Gibson during his time there. We were denied. The video shows the officers at the bar prior to the shooting. You can see them sitting across from each other at the start. Then you'll see Gibson move in to sit next to Rusk. Gibson reaches for Rusk's hand under the table, which seems to be met with hesitation from the younger officer. Then, just about an hour before the shooting, the two are seen leaving together. After Gibson puts his hand on Rusk's shoulder, you see Rusk forcefully push him off and put a finger in his face before walking away. We don't know what happened next, but after the shooting, Rusk makes this claim to the 911 dispatcher.
I told him this stop. He kept going. I was going to rape me. Help me. Help.
If our client was a female, this case would be drastically different.
Rusk's lawyer says the video and 911 call make a clear case for self-defense.
I think it'll show that certain steps weren't taken that needed to be taken.
The attorney says those steps, like looking into Rusk's claims of unwanted sexual advances, could have prevented what Rusk's dad calls a tragedy, which will affect his son for the rest of his life.
He told people from the get-go that he was sexually assaulted. He said no, and he kept on. He said no, and he kept on. If I had a daughter in the same position, we wouldn't even be here. We wouldn't have an innocent person fighting for their freedom.
Williamsburg officers are investigating the shooting. They had no comment on this story. James City County Police also declined to comment. Calls to the prosecutor trying the case were unreturned. You can hear the complete 911 call on wavy.com. I'm Julie Millay, 10 on Your Side.
So I saw the video. He definitely, but I just, you shouldn't victim shame, but after he started touching me, I would have bounced, period. I don't know how they both ended up at the bar together. And yeah, he was, I don't know. I didn't see the aggressive part to where someone needed to be shot. So I didn't know how much of a self-defense that was. The video is on YouTube if you guys want to judge for yourself. I don't know. It's unfortunate and crazy, but I know I wouldn't go out drinking with someone that I knew had been harassing me for a while. That doesn't look too great. And I know alcohol can be what it is, but yeah. I guess I'm being like the guys, because if this was a woman out drinking with a guy that had been harassing her, they'd be like, why's she out with him? But you can't victim shame. A lot of people are saying Melania Trump lives in an ivory tower of denial where silence is deliberate, and said an ex-friend. Let's see. Supposedly Don Lemon has a history of alleged racist, sexist, and diva-like behavior. Don Lemon has really pissed off somebody because they are really coming for him. Oh, there was the whole thing about Tom Brady and Reese Witherspoon are dating. Interesting couple. Steven Tyler has denied sexually assaulting the minor that he was accused of assaulting, claims it was consensual. Actually, I was just talking about this earlier because I was watching Surviving R. Kelly, and I know that Steven Tyler kind of had a similar accusation, but he has denied allegations that he sexually assaulted a 16-year-old in 1973 and forced her to get an abortion. He filed a lengthy response to the claims, arguing that the plaintiff consented to their sexual relationship and that he had immunity as her legal guardian. Yeah, because their parents pretty much signed her over to them, which to me, in my opinion, is kind of allegedly what happened in the R. Kelly situation. Those parents they're like, oh, you're going to make my young underage daughter a star? Even after all his allegations and everything. But once again, we can't victim shame or blame because nobody ever wants to cop to roles they play in things that happen to underage kids. But I digress. Yeah, man. Yeah. The Simpsons still were predicting Trump's arrest and the Barbie doll 29 years ago. They predicted this. At this point, the Simpsons writers might as well write the new version of the Bible because they kind of know a lot of stuff. Yeah, dude. Let's see what you Reddit crazies are talking about today. I saw a few things, but I was too busy watching that video between those two cops. It was an interesting exchange. Like I said, I didn't see the whole like where he needed to pull out a gun. I saw him getting in the dude's face a little bit, but it was kind of like a laughing moment, like, you know, kind of like flirty, but I think the dude just maybe got fed up, and I don't know what they was drinking, because dude, he's probably one of those angry junks or something. Let's see here. What was discontinued but you miss like hell and wish it would come back? What would I say? I say bring back like the old school phones that had buttons on it. I hate touchscreen, and I know they got them sidekicks and crap, but no, I miss Blackberries. But somebody said the dollar menu at every fast food joint, when TV stations were about what they claim to be about, MTV, History Channel, Discovery Channel, TLC. TLC is really falling from grace. It's funny. 90s Nickelodeon. I wish the news wasn't 24 hours a day, too. I wish it was just came on in the morning, the afternoon, and the evening, and that's it. I thought those three were enough, because this constant 24-hour news cycle is just too much. Jello brand pudding puffs. Those were good. The pudding puffs is good. Philadelphia cream cheese made single-size cheesecakes. I love me a cheesecake. $5 foot longs. No, I'm still boycotting Subway until they apologize for that Jared crap. 24-hour anything. Taco Bell being cheap. Nothing's cheap anymore. Nabisco's Butterfinger BBs. I like Planters used to make this like really a snack mix that they took away, and I'm like, what happened? Did it get E. coli or salmonella or something? Like, some of the best things they create is gone. iPod or any audio player that's small, portable, and works offline. Most apps work offline. I know Pandora does anyway. McDonald's snack wraps. Those weren't they were tasty. Pizza Hut lunch buffets. I hate buffets. Taco Bell cheesy potato burritos. Never had one. Maple and brown sugar light cereal. Cereal, period, has changed so much. Like, it does not taste the same. How about bringing back everything that is not, like, filled with processed crap? Everything tastes so fake now. How do you sleep at night? Full nude or dressed? Me, I'm more of a tank top, either undies or shorts person. Only reason I wouldn't wear shorts is my husband is a freaking pervy. If I was like to sleep in just my t-shirt and panties, my husband would think that's like party time. But most people are shirt and underwear. I know people that sleep naked, but I just think you're gonna get clammy and stuff. Clamsters. Only with a butt plug and lush inside. Fully nude, gotta give room for my nightmare boners, my nighttime boners. Some of these people are just trolling. Interesting. Let's see what the men are yanking about. Men who are dating or in a relationship, why did you stop following models posting thirst traps? I think most men still follow because they're men. Never did in the first place. I never have in the first place. I never follow any of it. I think that if you look at it or like it, it'll show up in your algorithm though. Or especially on Facebook, if you're friends with pervs, it'll show up like, for instance, my uncle, and I'm not ashamed to say this, he's a perv. I had to stop following him because I was getting all kind of weird stuff popping up on my timeline. That's what I hate about Facebook. It's like, it shows you the stuff that your friends like, and that's yuck. It can really traumatize you. Someone said, I'm married and never followed women with those profiles. Look at you. My husband doesn't follow any women with those because, you know, social media does show what you like. But, I mean, would I think my husband doesn't look at thirst traps? I'd be crazy to think he doesn't. Like, I look at thirst traps. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. I look at thirst traps. Like, I don't look at them for hours, but if I see a thirst trap of a man, gray sweatpants or something, it might catch my eye. I might see it. I'm just saying. The men are really not talking about much. How can I, as a woman, understand how men operate? God says, basically imagine you have a functional adult, but then a random thought generator like, how are car tires made? Do ducks have knees? Can chickens communicate in full conversations? That's kind of sounds like how my brain works. If you can tell me how women operate, I'll tell you. Well, start off by thinking how you operate, then make following changes. When you see someone attractive, imagine you feel it twice as hard. When something humiliating happens, imagine that instead of wanting to hide, you kind of want to hit something, but you can't. When something nice happens, always be a little shocked and surprised, and always feel a little strange about showing your feelings like you're not supposed to do that. And once a day, do something regrettable just to see if what you think will happen will actually happen. But otherwise, guys aren't that different from women. Men are pretty simple creatures. Just give them food and sex and you'll be good to go. But in all seriousness, just talk to men in your life and try to understand their perspective. Everyone is different regardless of gender. Very true. That is a very true statement. Let's see. I'll be equal and see what the women are saying. And then we're going to wrap this Is It In Yet up. This is a deep question. Why are some women noticeably harsher to other women in the workplace, especially supervisors? I did a podcast on this one time about this, and women, they really come for each other more than men. It's almost like, it's kind of like, look, I'm going to take this woman down. It's like the worst, but this is an interesting question. This girl says, I work in a female majority workplace. Yeah, many of the women are super harsh to the few male coworkers, but taking a closer look, I noticed they can be either just as cruel or even harsher to each other. Women superiors are the harshest to the women they're in charge of at my job. I don't know if it's just my workplace, but when I see it, it's many times unnecessarily harsh. Some mistakes are super minor too, and I've heard it's more common than I know. So if so, why? I would say too, I prefer male bosses over women just because I don't know if it's the pressure of the patriarchy and trying to show that you are an unbiased and whatever boss, but yeah. Someone said because some women are a-holes and see other women as competition, or because they're insecure or jealous people who take out their misery on others, and women below them at work are often easy targets. Anytime I've seen this, it is at a very toxic and unprofessional workplace. It usually seems to come from either being jealous of younger female colleagues or for fear of being made to look bad and losing their job. It boils down to insecurity and a lack of team mentality at work. This is very prevalent in nursing, especially towards young new nurses. I think it's feeling threatened and a bit of a hazing. Somebody said because female managers can see through other women's emotionally manipulative behaviors in ways that male managers usually can't. Cheers work on men, they don't usually work on women. Also, female managers tend to be more by the book and more micromanagers, whereas male managers cut corners and delegate responsibilities to others. The reason probably that female managers get judged more harshly when the team fails. I also think women seem to prefer standards and expectations to be clear-cut, while men just figure it out as they go and run on instinct. Male managers also don't seem to realize the plane is going to crash until they're seconds from impact, whereas this whole thing seems like it's written by a female manager. Someone says, I agree to an extent. I don't know, although I don't see men at work telling other men to man up or acting in a way that imply a similar meaning. I don't know. I prefer, like I said, male bosses just because they're quick. I don't have to hear about their life story, and it's just easier. Because I'm not a communicator. I don't know about your life. I'm not going to tell you about mine. And if we do have casual chats, it's just that. And it's not emotions involved. So that's why I prefer male bosses over women. I've had better experiences. But guys, guess what? Is it in yet? It's in. It is in time for a 4-day weekend. Like I said, I might come and talk and chat with you catties and see, especially with this house thing. I had to go back over there on Friday because the insurance adjusters are still afraid to come out. I'm like, if y'all scared to do y'all job, y'all need different jobs. But I'll go over and make sure these blokes don't get harassed by these freaking weirdo tenants. I can't wait till it's all over, honestly. But yeah, if something exciting happens, I'll call you guys, okay? You guys have an amazing Easter weekend. He has risen, and he is going to come back and save us from this mess we call Earth. You guys be blessed, stay safe, all the above. You guys are amazing. You're gonna do well in life, and I am sending you nothing but love, baby. Isn't In Yet is signing off. Toodles.